Thank you very much, Graham. Now, resuming again on Monday and now in its fourth week, day 16 of the Oscar Pistorius trial was a deeply personal one for the Paralympian as the court heard detailed transcripts from private messages sent between Pistorius and Steenkamp, and in which a few weeks before the killing, she sent him a message saying she was scared of his temper. Now, with us on the line is Theresa Taylor, journalist at The Star, to give us a summary of the day's events. Theresa, thank you very much for taking our call.
No problem.
Let's start first by taking a look at the testimony of Annette Stipp, who's the wife of radiologist Johan Stipp. And she says that she woke to hear what she described as terrified screaming and gunshots. Now, I guess the big question here, as the defense tried to prove with Michelle Berger and the first witnesses and her husband, is do the versions match up? What were your findings there?
Do the versions of Michelle Berger and Annette Stipp match up?
Do the versions, does what Annette Stipp gave as testimony, does that match up with any of the other witnesses who were neighbours who described what they heard?
Yes, I mean, it does match up. I mean, Annette testified she was fluish on the night of the shooting. She said she was lying awake in bed. She looked over at the clock. It was 3:02, and then she heard gunshots. And her testimony was quite similar to her husband. They went out to the balcony. They heard a woman's terrified screaming, and then they tried to make a few phone calls. They heard more gunshots, and then her husband went to Oscar Pistorius' house.
Yeah.
So her testimony was very similar, and I mean, particularly on points like Michelle Berger talks about how even now when she's in the shower, she hears those terrified screams, or she remembers those terrified screams. And Annette mirrored that sort of thing, saying, you know, I would never forget those screams. And similarly to other witnesses, she wasn't keen to take the defense's bait that it wasn't a woman and it was actually Oscar.
Yeah.
She was quite determined it was a woman that she heard, and even a man interspersed at times.
Yeah, and maybe you can speak a little bit on that, on the defence strategy as it was handled by Advocate Kenny Aldridge. What exactly was he trying to do with his line of questioning?
Well, obviously, you know, the defense wants to bring, you know, any witness that is saying something that doesn't fit with Oscar's version of events, they want to bring the credibility of that witness into question. They want to make out like that witness is confused, perhaps their memory is not as good as they'd like to make out. And obviously, any witness that says they heard a woman screaming is very damaging to Oscar's case. So Aldridge wanted to show that she says she remembers the night well, actually she doesn't.
Yeah.
And he picked on a couple of things to try to do that. He said, why didn't she hear dogs barking? If dogs had barked on previous occasions, why could she not remember dogs barking on that occasion? In her statement, she originally said her husband said he saw a man passing through the toilet window, the shadow of a man. She originally put in her statement that she also saw that. But then later, when she met with the prosecution in preparation for the trial, she told them actually she was mistaken and she didn't see a man. It was only her husband that saw a man. So he obviously played on that a lot to say, you're an intelligent woman. Why would you make a mistake like that? It must be that your memory's not actually that good. And then the third thing that he played on was the toilet light. She was determined that she saw the toilet light on in Oscar's house. Oscar claims that the toilet light was broken at the time. So if that's true, then she's wrong about the toilet light being on. So the defense can play on that to say, well, if you're wrong about that, what else are you wrong about?
Indeed, indeed. Now, I think what was the biggest talking point, especially on the social media platforms, was the testimony of police cell phone analyst Captain Francois Moller, who read out transcripts of some heated exchanges between the couple on WhatsApp. Take us through some of his findings.
I think, you know, people really responded to those WhatsApp messages because they were very intimate and very personal, you know, perhaps similar to messages that you or I have exchanged with our intimate partners when you're having a fight or whatever. And there were 4 conversations that they went through. The first one was on the 11th of January last year, Oscar saying to Reva, please don't tell anyone what's happened. Darren says he's going to take the blame. The boys say they're going to keep quiet about it. And the implication is that that's about the Tasha's shooting. And it's actually quite significant because Oscar claims he never told Darren Fresco to take the blame for him, that Darren offered to take the blame. So if he's lying about that, that could be very damaging to his credibility, and that could have greater implications in terms of the case. If he's lying about that, what else is he lying about? And then the other 3 conversations were fights between him and Reva, very personal fights. One over her apparently smoking marijuana more often than she told him. She told him she'd only done it once. Apparently she'd done it more than once, and he was upset about this. And the others, The other two fights, one was over, you know, a friend's engagement party.
Yes.
He forced them to leave early. He'd gotten jealous. And, you know, the things that she said to him in these messages were very personal. She said, sometimes I'm scared of you. You know, you pick on me. I try to make you proud of me. I try to do a good job, you know, all of these sorts of things. And very things like, you pick on my accent. You tell me you don't like the way I chew gum. You know, I know you were sick, but you were really nasty. I've been unhappy about this for days. Like, I can't believe I'm the first one that has to message you about this. And really that jealousy, I think the prosecution's trying to show that it's likely. Well, I don't want to say it's likely, but that it's plausible, it's possible.
Yes.
They're trying to say that they had fights in the past. And that's probably what we'll be seeing more of this morning, more of those intimate conversations between the two of them.
Theresa, thank you very much for your time
Sure.
and your insights. We really do appreciate it.
No problem.
Theresa Taylor there, journalist at The Star, giving us a summary of day 16 of the Oscar Pistorius trial. Remember, of course, that we'll be giving you daily updates, and you can follow more in-depth details on www.sabcnews.com.